quarantine and the requirements related, both from the commercial growers perspective and also for the residential property owners as well. As you know, citrus is a beloved and popular planting in residential properties, and also there is major citrus production commercially in San Diego. The total value of citrus citrus production in 2023 for San Diego valued at $135 million. And statewide in California, that is a leading citrus state in the nation, the value is about $3.5 billion. So today we ask for your cooperation and your assistance in meeting the quarantine requirements so our local growers can continue their business. And also for the residents who are here, we also ask that you really think about your support and making a difference in supporting local agriculture and our local citrus growers, as well as the state citrus growers. Thank you very much, and I'll turn it over to Alex, who is from the California Department of Food and Agriculture, to present the state requirements.
The vector, the Asian citrus psyllid, which can feed on any citrus. So that includes oranges, lemons, tangerines. If it's citrus, ACP will feed on it. ACP can be found throughout all of San Diego County at this point. We regularly find it, but Huanglong being the disease that it can transmit is not found regularly. We do have find sites through in Oceanside, Fallbrook, and most recently in Valley Center, and that's what I'm going to go over today. All right. There it goes. Okay, so the Citrus Division has different activities that we conduct throughout the county, starting with multi-pest survey. Field staff will visit residential properties throughout the county to collect samples of target diseases. The main one we do look for is Huanglong Bing, which is the most deadly citrus disease that we know of. If surveyors do observe any samples on the tree, we will collect plant samples and submit them to the state lab for analysis and testing for HLB. Commodity survey, similar type of survey for multi-pest, but this focuses on commercial citrus. Staff will visit commercial groves and look for citrus diseases. And again, if they see any symptoms on the trees, they will collect samples and submit them to the state lab for testing. Delimitation survey and treatment. So if a sample is confirmed positive for HLB, this will trigger a 250-meter delimitation from the find site. So any property within 250 meters of that find, CDFA staff will go door to door to conduct a survey. And if they have citrus, we will collect plant samples. And also if we do find any ACP, we'll collect ento samples, entomology samples, and submit them for testing. For regulatory, we also have a regulatory team that goes out, and I'll let Jem talk more about regulatory during her presentation. But yes, we have a team that goes out, make sure that growers, nurseries, and also retailers are following rules and regulations when they're selling or transporting citrus. For biocontrol, CDFA is currently mass rearing Tamarix irradiata. This is in Riverside and Cal Poly Pomona, where we have entomology greenhouses where we have mass production going on. So after they're reared, we collect them and we will release them throughout Southern California and most recent HLB finds in California. So if we do find a positive plant sample with HLB, we will classify the properties into two different types. The first being residential properties, and the second is a grove, or a property that has 25 or more citrus trees. So as far as the survey that's conducted in the delimitation, the Citrus Division will conduct the survey. For treatment, we will conduct the treatment on residential properties, but for properties that have 25 or more citrus trees, the owner is responsible for treating their grove. For HLB tree removal, we will notify the homeowner and work with them as soon as we find that a tree is confirmed positive. For residential properties, we will do the removal ourselves, and the cost is covered by the department. For grove properties, the owner is responsible. And to ensure that that no future detections or no additional trees are in the area, CDFA will continue to monitor the area and collect samples at least once a year. So updates. So the most recent finds that we have in San Diego County are in Valley Center, and we broke it down into Valley Center 8 and then Valley Center 9. Each delimitation has 2 trees that have been detected. For Valley Center 8, both trees have been removed, and the survey and treatment is complete for that area. For Valley Center 9, we also have 2 trees that were detected. The first one was detected in March 14th, and the second one was April 11th. The April 11th one is still standing, but it has been treated, and it is scheduled for removal tomorrow. So, delimitation status. So, as I mentioned earlier, 250 meters around the find site, CDFA will conduct a survey and conduct treatment on residential properties if they do have citrus. For the delimitation survey for Valley Center 8, we have completed the survey, and for Valley Center 9, it is ongoing. For the delimitation treatment, that should be Valley Center 9. It's complete, and the survey is complete for Valley Center 9, and the treatment is ongoing for Valley Center 9. So this is an overview of both delimitation areas that we're working on. Valley Center 8 is down here, and north of it, it's about 5 miles from Valley Center 8, we have Valley Center 9. And so this is a close-up of Valley Center 8. Normally, before we start any work, we do notify properties, and we also establish a public treatment meeting to go over information about the treatments. Any property within the orange highlighted section is getting treated, and any property in the blue area is just notified of the ongoing activities. And it's the same thing for Valley Center 9. Orange area is just a survey treatment area, and the blue area is the notification area. And that's the summary for delimitation status for Valley Center. Here's my contact information, and I'm happy to take questions. I'm not sure if we're doing questions now or at the end, but I'm going to hand it over to Jem after if we don't have any questions, but I did see a hand.
Yeah, I just have one. So I live in Valley Center. The first delimitation area was really near the house where I grew up, but my house was not in it, so I was happy to see that. Number 9, I couldn't see the roads. What is that main road on the right?
It's a Cole Grade Road.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's off of McNally?
Yes, so I guess major crossroads would be McNally Road and Cold Grade Road. Yeah. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing my screen and let
So my name is
Gemma.
Gemma, and I am the environmental scientist for the regulatory division, and I cover San Diego County and Imperial County. So as for a brief timeline about HLB, 2008 was when ACP was first detected in San Diego County. HLB first happened in 2012 in LA, and that pretty much kicked off the bubble of a basic 5-mile quarantine in LA. And as for San Diego County, our first HLB quarantine happened in August of 2021, and that was in Oceanside. Again, another 5 miles, which kind of went into a little bit of Vista and Colorado to the south. From then on, it happened in the Rancho Bernardo Poway area, February 2023. The initial find in Valley Center happened November 2023, followed by Fallbrook, and then we had another expansion in March of last month. County has the most at 6581, and then as for San Diego County, we have a total of 108. Specifically for Valley Center, as of April 28, we have 23 HLB positive trees and 2 ACP bugs that tested positive for CLAS. So this is an overall view of the HLB quarantine. As I mentioned, that LA in 2012 started first, so it was basically a basic 5-mile bubble. But from there, the bubble expanded depending on where detections were. So basically, San Diego is on track to look like the giant bubble that now encompasses Orange County, LA, San Bernardino, and Riverside County. As you can see there's 2 colors. The blue is the existing boundary line, and then anything in that purple pink is an expansion. Okay, that's more of a close-up view of it. So when a positive HLB tree has been found, a 5-mile quarantine happens based on that find site. And as you can see from a closer view of what Valley Center was, it used to be about 5 miles, but because of the 2 most recent finds out of Valley Center, one happened in the south, one happened in the north. So that's how the expansion got a lot bigger rather than encompassing maybe a few streets if it was from the original neighborhood. So when quarantine pops up as part of the regulatory team, my team will basically scout the area initially for production and retail nurseries, and these are the places that have citrus nursery stock. And again, we go to those places first because those are the trees that can move basically. And so we put that on hold, and then we talk to the nursery of what their options for it are. So that's either you can plant if you have the space for it, build an insect resistant structure, or it goes for voluntary destruction. So as for quarantine requirements for growers, basically all parties need to have a compliance agreement, whether you are the ones who are growing the fruit, if you are transporting it, if you're receiving it and processing it, and depending on where you fall on that spectrum, will depend on what exhibits that you will receive for an HLB compliance agreement, which I issue, and I also have hard copies for you to sign if you would like to do that today at the end of the meeting. So on the left side, for growers to packing houses, your options are to spray and harvest, field clean by machine, a grate cleaning that needs prior approval, or a wet wash, which is a standalone mitigation. And so your compliance agreement exhibits will be a little bit different compared to a grower who does not go to a packing house and does not have their fruit commercially processed. You guys get different exhibits, but for a grower to market a roadside stands, again, pretty much the standard is no leaves, no stems, apply mitigation if needed, and to safeguard in transit, which is full coverage of the fruit from the grove to wherever you are transporting it. And so for commercial groves, this is a table of products that you are eligible to use to treat and harvest within 14 days of application. This table is also available on our website under grower information, and pretty much the products don't really change. So if you've seen this, last month or a few years back, it should relatively be the same for the products to use. So for that one, that's just a key ingredient, but at least for what growers would have to use, it'd have to be the name of the product as well. Sorry, does that answer your question? Not really.
I thought that imidacloprid was not being used in California anymore.
So we are working on that because our regulatory team has been discussing that as well. So we're trying to work on the list of what can be available, because California is, with their restrictions and everything. So, but we do have other ingredients that can be used based off of this list as well. Yes.
Is there anything approved for organic production or no?
Oh, so for organic, that would be a lot more complicated because we don't, out of this list, no, it's not organic. And so, let me just go to the next slide. So most people who do organic would have to do the grate cleaning, and typically they do like a wet wash option. So here are different examples of field cleaning machines and grate cleaning devices. For grate cleaning is basically using gravity to go through grates to remove stems and leaves. And then most likely a wet wash if you're the organic option. And that's just another view of grate cleaning. And so for performance standards for grate cleaning, you would have to work with CDFA and the county to get it pre-approved. And so we are working on the fumigation option, but also when it comes to grate cleaning, there isn't really a set standard. We try to leave that to the grower of what works best for you on how to grate clean the fruit. So here, you can see that. Okay, so when it comes to mitigations, again, it really depends where the fruit is grown and where is it going to end up. So if you look all the way down south, there is A, B, and C, which is that A is San Diego County, and then C is all the way out to Imperial County. So if you are, so from the first bullet, if you're harvesting, if you grow it in A and you are going to get it processed within the also A region as well, there is no mitigation. But once you go from A to B, which is still within San Diego County, but you're going from quarantine to not quarantine or ACP, then that would need a mitigation. Now, if you're going all the way from A to C, which is San Diego all the way out to Imperial, that will require 2 mitigations, or a wet wash. Now, for going the opposite way from Imperial into HLB San Diego, that does not require a mitigation. Again, so CDFA and the county is also here to help on what forms that you would need and what needs a mitigation or not, depending on where it grows and where the fruit ends up. But either way, you would still need a pest mitigation form. And there's 2 different versions, again, HLB versus an ACP one, depending on where the fruit originates from. Here are just extra resources about the quarantine and what we do. So most of the information of what you will find is on our main website, which is cdfa.ca.gov/citrus. And from there, there's a whole bunch of drop-down menus to find stuff about quarantine and other projects that our division does. So if you have any further questions, my name is Jem, and then also our regulatory manager is available as well, but he's based out of Sacramento. But you can always email them as well with questions. And that concludes my presentation.
Picture of the modeled leaf and then the fruit and that kind of stuff. I had some questions. That was like, I think, slide 5.
Sorry,
If I remember.
I'm getting there. Oh,
That's it right here.
okay. Yes.
So, can you explain what the little circles mean on like the leaf, and then what am I looking at here with the citrus with the seeds?
Okay, so what's circled over there is basically obviously a perfect leaf would be green, a solid green, and HLB will sometimes cause the leaves to be like a splotchy, blotchy yellow, and it's asymmetrical. So if you see like repeated patterns, most likely it'll be a nutrient deficiency between the leaves. So that picture with the red circles is trying to show that it's not uniform from the way the splotchiness is on that particular leaf. And then the bottom picture with the cut fruit is one of the symptoms as well of HLB infected fruit is hollow or like aborted seeds. And then also this picture doesn't show it as much, but it also causes the fruit to be lopsided. So it could be dramatic, like a 70-30. To me, this kind of looks like maybe a 60-40. But you can see that when you cut open the fruit.
And that's still safe to eat with people. It's just that we don't want to have it go elsewhere.
Right. So it's not harmful to humans, but based on symptoms from field staff, either an orange can be either bitter or bland, and it's not going to taste like it. It's obviously harder to detect in a lemon or a lime, but those are one of the things as well.
Good morning. My name is Jasmine Lopez. I'm the Deputy Agricultural Commissioner in the Department of Agriculture Weights and Measures for the Citrus Quarantine Program. So I'm within the Department of Agriculture Weights and Measures for the County of San Diego. So this is a brief overview of what I'm going to go over today. We'll have an introduction to our department, AWM, some general resident information because I believe some residents may be here rather than commercial citrus growers, so it's important to know the distinctions. I'll go over the bulk citrus inspections, which relates to what Jem has already previously spoken about, as well as pesticide use needs and citrus nursery stock. So our shared mission is to promote agriculture, trade, public health, food security, consumer confidence, and a sustainable environment for the San Diego region. Our department was formed in 1881. So our main job is to locally enforce laws and regulations that the state or USDA, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, have created. So we're enforcing those laws and regulations in the County of San Diego. As far as HLB and ACP go, we support CDFA, who is the lead for these quarantines in the county. So CDFA enacts these quarantines, and we have staff to enforce those laws and regulations and help both residents and growers in the region. So I think it's important to know, first off, if you're in the HLB quarantine area. So I've provided a QR code, which you can take a picture with your phone. We also have outreach flyers that have this map, some details about symptoms, as well as a link. You can also Google CDFA GIS citrus quarantine map, and those will all take you to a searchable map that can tell you if your physical address is in the quarantine area, because that will determine what you're able to do, what requirements you need to meet, whether you're a resident or a citrus grower, transporter, packing house. So there is no cure, it is fatal. CDFA and different researchers are working to find a cure, but until that happens, we need cooperation for both residents and commercial citrus growers. The map is very small, obviously, in this picture, so that searchable map is your best bet. Again, we have handouts on the table. So for residents, as I mentioned, there is no cure. It does affect all citrus varieties, including orange, lemon, lime, mandarin, grapefruit, kumquat, even some native citrus species. And the trees will die no matter what if your tree is positive. So it's best to remove the tree from your yard to protect local citrus industry as well as your neighbors. So again, cooperate with local officials. Do not move citrus leaves, stems, and plants or debris. Remove your citrus tree if you no longer care for it, for example, if you haven't watered it or if you're not actively treating it or monitoring for these symptoms. And report any citrus symptoms that are suspicious to the CDFA pest hotline. So CDFA is available to answer any questions at this hotline number. If they listen to your concerns and think the symptoms are also suspicious, they may take samples. So that is helpful. CDFA is able to answer any questions related to those symptoms. Again, there's a QR code at the bottom to go to californiacitrusthreat.org. That's a pretty simple address. You can also Google that, and that has a lot of resources available to residents that are concerned with citrus in their area. So those previous two slides were more specific to residents that might not be aware of the quarantine. Now I'm going to talk more about bulk citrus inspections. So these are related to commercial citrus growers, transporters, packers, and fruit sellers. This could also include small growers, certified producers that sell at farmers markets, swap meets, small markets, etc. Even to restaurants, we have some growers that do that. As you know, I think the statistic is about half of the properties in California have citrus, which is wild. And we have a lot of small growers that sell directly to these entities. So we have the ability to work with the regulations for these small growers that might not have access to all of the requirements Jem spoke to. But our department wants to work with you to make sure those requirements are satisfied. So as far as our staff do, the activities, we issue ACP compliance agreements to those entities. We also conduct inspections at the groves, packing houses, transporters, farmers markets, and small markets, and swap meets. Here's a general overview of our process. We typically conduct inspections by either notification, surveillance, or scheduling with the establishment. We verify that the business has a compliance agreement, and all other entities also have a compliance agreement that's required. And we also confirm that it's safeguarded in transit. So this is a load with a tarp, 48 field citrus bins heading to a packing house in Oceanside. And we also verify any required paperwork or notification, depending on where it's coming from and where it's going. We also inspect for presence of stems and leaves and any symptoms of ACP and HLB. This occurs both at packing houses, on the trucks, and out in the groves. And then we also review any related records to bulk citrus movement. So our staff is out there every day performing these inspections for commercial citrus growers, packers, and transporters. So again, this is referring to what Jem spoke about for mitigation methods for commercial citrus. So as of right now, there are 5 options. We work with commercial citrus growers to find out the situation that specifically they're dealing with. So as you saw, it can get complicated what requirements are needed depending where you're growing and where it's shipping. And we'd be happy to speak with you directly to figure out your situation. Each scenario is so unique for San Diego County. So we want to make sure we're able to meet the requirements to move this bulk citrus. As Jem mentioned, there are currently no organic pre or post-harvest options for bulk citrus movement, but the other 4 listed, mechanically cleaned, grate cleaned, wet wash, or other methods are potentially organic. They are currently working on an ethyl formate fumigation that's been pending for a few years. Hopefully that can get approved so that can be a post-harvest organic option. If you are a certified organic grower and you are concerned about your organic status, my best advice is to reach out to your organic certifier to see if you are affected. Typically, if you're in the HLB quarantine, that's not an issue. You're still able to move your bulk citrus. Again, this is for certified organic. If you're considered just a organic gardener or that's your preference for your property, then that's up to you. So CDFA does make contact to everybody within the delimitation area as well as the notification area specifying those treatments. So if you haven't been notified lately, then you likely are not in those delimitation areas, just to clarify that. This slide pertains to agricultural commodities using pesticides. So if you're a resident, this does not pertain to you. But all pesticides on production agricultural commodities must be reported to the county every month. Operator IDs are the numbers you use to report this use, and they're required for purchase, use, and reporting of agricultural pesticides. So we have pesticide regulation inspectors who are available to issue an op ID to go over the requirements. If you have any questions about what's needed or why you would need an op ID, I can put you in contact with the inspector who is specifically assigned for citrus. Another option available to you is to reach out to a pest control advisor. So these advisors are have received the credentials to provide advice for what pest control, what treatments are available for citrus. There is also a useful resource that I should have put here for any residents that are concerned that have, it's the UC ANR has an integrated pest management website specific to citrus for residents. And those are recommended products that the UC ANR has provided for citrus growers. And again, this is related to citrus nursery stock. So for example, if you are a nursery owner, these are the requirements. So the item that's regulated for both ACP and HLB are the stems and leaves, because ACP is the insect that feeds on these, on the stems and leaves. So if we have an HLB quarantine, we have to regulate the movement of the stems and leaves. Therefore, no citrus plants may leave a quarantine area. This extends to both residents and nursery owners. So CDFA will issue a hold notice to all nurseries for citrus plants, cuttings, and rootstock. And they will discuss options with those nurseries. So there are 3 options available: an approved greenhouse with plants on hold for 2 years, planting the citrus nursery stock, or voluntary destruction. So CDFA has been in contact with all of the nurseries that are in those HLB quarantine areas. If you are a resident that has citrus nursery stock, please do not, and you're in the HLB quarantine area, please do not move it off your property. We are trying to keep the quarantine area as small as possible. So that is the best practice for residents within the HLB quarantine area. And that's the end of my presentation. Are there any questions? Yes.
We ship a number of small boxes, 25, 40 pounds, maybe, of blood-red oranges to friends, family in other states. Clean and all, take the stems out.
Okay.
By hand.
Great.
Am I okay that way? I mean, I don't send them to Florida, I have a Texas.
That's good. So there are several citrus quarantines, both federal and state exterior, for regulation for movement of all citrus in the United States. Florida and Texas are, they've gone through this whole HLB ordeal back in the 90s. 70% of their citrus has been decimated since. And that's why the requirements for citrus movement are so strict across the whole United States. This is a good question. So within those quarantine requirements, it states less than 25 pounds can be moved from a resident to another property. And it's great that you're removing all stems and leaves and cleaning it. That's the other requirement. Another additional requirement for citrus movement by mail is this goes for any plant material, by the way, to mark on the outside of the box the contents and the origin. So you can say, blood oranges grown in San Diego County, and that will specify it. We generally discourage the movement of citrus fruit because residents might not process it correctly or might not know the requirements of the 25 pounds, but if you take those items into consideration, then you should be set.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Yes.
This is the first time I've heard of the infield grape cleaning thing.
Mm-hmm.
Glad I learned about it, but sounds like you have to be approved. So in a smaller grower situation, it also sounds like above 25 pounds is considered bulk citrus fruit.
Yes. If it's for sale.
What can you recommend for someone who's trying to move more than 25 pounds but doesn't necessarily have the wherewithal or the actual need for a grape cleaning machine?
So that's a good question. Like I mentioned, we have so many small growers in the region that fall into that situation where, for example, we have a kumquat grower who ships tiny kumquats in small amounts, and they have a great cleaning situation that we've approved. So that might be something that would be useful. The grape cleaning, let me go back to pictures. It can look like very many things. This one in the top right corner has a big forklift that lifts the whole bin. Probably not your situation. And this is a packing house line. So that's what looks like a field cleaned by machine situation. Nicole is a citrus inspector, and we can guide you through this process. The important thing to consider is that the grate approval takes some time to be approved by both the origin county, the destination county, and CDFA.
So you don't sell them, you just approve the use of it.
Yes, correct. So we work with the grower, or maybe it's the packing house or the harvesting crew that organizes it, to make sure that the standard of practically free of stems and leaves is met. So we go out to do the inspection. Typically, the approval process takes at least 1 week, maybe 2, depending on response from all parties. But it's a pretty quick process, and we work with all establishments to make it happen. So we can talk more after to see where you plan to ship the fruit, where it's being packed or where you're selling it, and figure that out. Yeah, thank you. Any other questions? No? Okay, I'll be available after to answer any questions. We have 3 inspectors here as well. And thank you for your time today.
I have one additional question. When you're cutting down dead branches, you don't know that they're infected or not. We've been leaving them sit for 2 weeks, so they're all dried and everything, and we put them in the dumpster.
That's perfect. That you know exactly the requirement. That's what's recommended as a best practice. So when they're dead and dried out like that, the insects don't want to feed on it. So that's perfect. Thank you. Then you can just put it in your green waste bin and you're set.
It for all of our presenters, so we really appreciate you guys coming out today. AWM will make these presentations available on our website.
I'll leave my cards out. So if you don't know how to get to our website, you can just email me, and I'll direct you to the website and direct you to the presentations, so that you can, view these again. I believe also Mission Resource Conservation District is also going to post this presentation on their website as well. So if you have any, neighbors or anybody who couldn't make it to this meeting today, direct them to Mission Resources website, and they can view this entire meeting. That way they'll capture all your guys' important questions as well as material in the presentations. So like Jasmine said, we're available for another hour or so in case you guys have questions that you want to ask of each of us individually. So again, thank you for attending. It's very important that we try and create awareness about this deadly citrus disease so that we can avoid kind of what happened in Texas and Florida, where the citrus just got decimated. CDFA, in cooperation with the county ag commissioners, is working very, very hard to make sure that we don't have that situation occur in California. So again, thank you very much for your participation, and we're available if you guys have any further questions, okay?